Over the last 50 years, the world looked at economic status alone as a measure of human development. Human creativity and activity has brought a breathtaking pace of technological innovations and scientific breakthroughs. Due to increased human population, pressure on natural resources is being increased so as to meet the basic requirements of growing population. Overexploitation of natural resources has caused many environmental problems. The developmental activities including agriculture have accelerated the process of desertification and also reduction of genetic diversity. Air, water and land pollution became a great challenge which is intimately connected with the population and ecosystem. Inland water bodies and coastal areas are treated as dumping ground for wastes which is adversely affecting aquatic and marine life. Unsustainable developments ignores that the human-managed systems degrade the natural resources by consuming non-renewable resources and reducing the capacity of natural system to renew or recycle the resource. Caring for natural resources and promoting their sustainable use is an essential response of the world community to ensure its own survival and well-being. Sustainable development has local and global dimensions. At local level, sustainable development implies to increase the productivity of ecosystem by environment preservation. However, at global level the productivity is increased by causing stress on the ecosystem. Sustainable development helps the people of the world to live healthy, fulfilling an economically secure life without causing any damage to the ecosystem as well as without the expansive resources of the future generation and the planet. In the previous module we discussed about concept of sustainable development, causes and challenges, indicators of sustainability and principles of sustainability. In this module we will learn about international efforts in managing sustainable development, strategy of sustainable development in India. We will also see how we can apply ecological principles in the strategy of sustainable development. 3. International programs on sustainable development. Various programs on sustainable development are initiated at international level. Some of the important steps are as follow. 3.1. World Conservation Strategy. There are two main views. One is ecological view that represents sustainability by preserving the function and status of ecological systems, and second view is economic view which represents sustainability through improvement and maintenance of human life. In 1980, the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources (ICUN), Worldwide Fund for Nature (WWF), and the United Nations Environment Programme (UNEP) developed a long-range plan for the world conservation strategy for conserving the world's biological resource. The primary goal of these strategies was to maintain critical ecological processes and life-supporting system to conserve species and genetic diversity, to ensure the use of species and ecosystem in a sustainable manner to enhance quality of human life. 3.2. World Commission on Environment and Development. The sustainability concept became stronger and popularized in 1980s. The United Nations (UN) established a commission, the World Commission on the Environment and Development, in 1983. It is commonly referred as the Brundtland Commission, named after Gro Harlem Brundtland, the head of the commission and former Prime Minister of Norway. The commission proposed the agenda to deal with the world environment problems and concern of human population-related living condition, education, resources, international trade, population pressure and health. The Brundtland Commission report Our Common Future explained the sustainable development by the statement, development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the need of future generations to meet their own needs. In another word, we are dependent on nature for food, water, energy and other life-supporting services. We cannot deplete resources or create wastes faster than nature can recycle them. The benefit of sustainable development must be available to all individuals of humans rather than few members of a privileged group. The sustainable development has three main principles. 1. Economic. The poverty should be exterminated through the optional and efficient use of natural resources. 1. Economic. The poverty should be exterminated through the optional and efficient use of natural resources. 2. Environmental ecological. The conservation and enhancement of physical and biological resource base, avoiding overexploitation of renewable resources and depletion of non-renewable resources. It is mainly focused on maintenance of biological diversity, atmospheric stability and ecosystem services and functions. 3. Social. It is related with socially sustainable system based on distributional equity, welfare of people, improving access to basic health and education service, gender equity, political accountability and participation. Many economists believe that economic growth is the only way to bring about long-range transformation to more advanced and productive societies. But it is not sufficient to meet all the essential needs. Brundtland Commission pointed out that political stability, democracy and equitable economic distribution are necessary to ensure that the poor will get the sufficient share of the benefit of wealth in a society. 3.3. United Nations Conference on Environment and Development (UNCED). The United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, the Earth Summit, was held in Rio de Janeiro, the 3rd to the 14th of June 1992. Most of the countries around the world signed the Framework Conventions on Climate Change and the Conventions on Biological Diversity and approved the Rio Declaration and the Forest Principles. It adapted Rio Declaration N. Addenda 21, for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. The Rio concept of sustainable development included 1. Equal consideration of society, environment and economy. 2. International solidarity, consideration of the needs of future generation. 3. Intragenerational solidarity, consideration of the need of poor. Agenda 21 reflects a global consensus and political assurance on environment and development cooperation at national and international level. It also provides proposal for governments to maintain a balance between population and development while providing ecological security. Agenda 21 mainly emphasized on sustainable development. 3.4. World Summit on Sustainable Development (WSSD). The World Summit on Sustainable Development (WSSD) held. The World Summit on Sustainable Development (WSSD) held from August 26 to September 4, 2002, in Johannesburg, South Africa, stated that the states should take immediate steps to make progress in the formulation and elaboration of national strategies for sustainable development and begin their implementation by 2005. 3.5. Global environmental monitoring and assessment. A number of multinational environmental agreement and UNEP have been working in partnership with various United Nations organizations to coordinate terrestrial, oceanic and climate observing systems. The major challenge is to understand the resilience of the ecosystem so as to find ways to fulfill the demand of people within the tolerance range of nature. 4. Sustainable development in India, perspective and strategies. Even after 69 years of independence, we are far from attaining the basic need of society such as security of food, water, shelter, health, educational, socio-cultural and political opportunities. About 3/4 of India's population suffers from scarcity of one or the other kind, which includes economic poverty, malnutrition, unhygienic drinking water and sanitation, unemployment and several other conditions which are lower than minimum standards of human rights and well-being. Natural ecosystems are under rapid degradation process, wild biodiversity are under varying rates of erosion, most of freshwater bodies are polluted and not suitable for drinking and agricultural, air pollution in most of the cities is alarming and amongst the world's highest, modern, wastes electronic and chemical are being produced much more in quantity than the capacity to recycle and so on. India has become the world's third country having biggest ecological footprint, GFN and CII 2008. India's report on Millennium Development Goals MDG, Figure 1 Implementation Government of India, 2011 contains a section on MDG 7. Figure point 1. Model of sustainable development for India to meet the MDGs. Some indicators such as forest cover, safe drinking water, ozone depleting substances and sanitation facilities shows some substantial progress. However, other indicators like CO2 emissions and growth of slums does not show any positive response. Table 1. Resource and energy management. New models and technology for economic development. Education includes environmental education, ethics and population control. Target 7A integrates sustainability principle into country policies for reversing the environmental resource losses. Forest cover has increased by 3 million hectares in the last decade. The forest cover area has increased by 72,800 hectares from 2005 to 2007. The aim of Green India mission is to increase forest and tree cover in 5 million hectares and also improve quality of forest in another 5 million hectares. Protected areas cover of 4.90% of land area is increased by around 70,000 hectares from 1999 to 2011. Energy use per unit of GDP has remained almost same as in 1970-71. It was increased significantly higher in 1970s and 1980s but again declined in last 2 decades. The emission of CO2 has increased dramatically and India became the world's third largest CO2 emitting country in which coal burning is the main largest contributors of CO2 emission. The use of ozone depleting substances per capita is still very low and 6 CFC consumption has been sharply declined. Target 7B reduce biodiversity loss, achieving, by 2010, a significant reduction in the rate of loss. Missing from the report, presumably integrated into the above. Target 7C have by 2015, people without access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation. Proportion of people without access to safe drinking water has been significantly reduced from 1990 34% to 2008 09 9%. Proportion of households without sanitation facilities has reduced 76% 1990 to 50% 2008 09 43% will remain without such facilities at this rate, missing the MDG target only by about 5% points. Target 7D by 2020, improvement in lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers. Slum population has significantly increased from 46.26 million in 1991 to 61.82 million in 2001. However, the number of slums declined about 13% from 1993 to 2008-09. Latest estimate of slum population is not available. There is marginal improvement in facilities of slum dwellers from 2002 to 2008-09. Table point 1. India's achievement of MDG 7, as officially reported. Source, GOI 2011. The need for conservation and sustainable use of natural resources has been expressed in Indian scriptures more than 3,000 years ago and is reflected in our constitutional, legislative and policy framework along with international commitments. The environmental issue of increasing air and water pollution, degradation of land and forests and loss of biodiversity has come into focus. Specific measures were initiated for environmental protection agencies since the Stockholm Declaration way back in 1972. Setting up of a Department of Environment in 1980 and its further upgradation as Ministry of Environment and Forest MOF in 1985 strengthened country's progress in this direction. The Environment Protection Act 1986 was an umbrella legislation, which empowered the central government to take appropriate measures for the purpose of protecting and improving the environment. India is a signatory to Convention on Biological Diversity (CBD) and has initiated the countrywide process of developing National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan (NBSAP). A Biological Diversity Act, 2002 provide law for conservation of biodiversity, sustainable uses of its components and equitable sharing of its benefits. India acceded to the Montreal Protocol along with its London Amendment in June 1992. The MOF has established an ozone cell and steering committee on the Montreal Protocol to facilitate the implementation of program. Several policy pronouncements of the Government of India, such as the National Environment Policy, 2006 or the approach papers of various 5-year plans, have promised the integration of development and environment. These policy frameworks, as also the implementation of the MDGs, could have been opportunities for a holistic pathway towards sustainable, equitable well-being for all of India's people. Keeping in view the reality of socio-economic system and the governmental support system, the main agenda of sustainable development in India has to focus on combating poverty, decentralization of power to people, utilization of scientific and technical expertise, strengthening of institutional support system MOP 2002. Some programs like microcrediting, participation in resource management and investment in poor people are already showing some encouraging result. For example, joint forest management and integrated watershed development have shown encouraging result of empowering people to manage their own resource for sustainable livelihoods. The traditional rain harvesting system and erosion control measures in arid region of Rajasthan are helping to regenerate the system. From both economic and ecological point of view, maintenance of ecosystem health emerges as the most important issue to be addressed. Considering the diversity of ecosystem and their sensitivity to human or climate-induced perturbation, we need to develop capabilities to maintain the integrity of these ecosystems. In this context, following points deserve priority. Singh 2004. 1. Thorough investigation of native and endemic biotic component of the ecosystems must attract highest attention. 2. Monitoring the changes in ecosystem, including those due to invasion of alien species, is yet another aspect which needs immediate attention. Changes in natural patterns and processes across disturbance gradient would provide a way for predicting the future structure and dynamics of ecosystem. 3. Ecosystem health has a direct bearing on well-being of the human societies. Unfortunately, the services rendered by natural ecosystems are being impaired and destroyed by a wide variety of human activities. 4. Maintaining ecological integrity involves protecting total native biodiversity at all levels as well as the ecological patterns and processes that maintain that diversity. 5. Anticipate and prevent. Instead of react and cure, strategy must be firmly established for dealing with environmental pollution. Use of plants and natural or constructed ecosystems in pollution abatement needs be thoroughly studied and applied. There is a need for extensive information generation and its wide dissemination across the country. This would require innovative changes in our traditional approach. If the underpinning of ecology and environment are to be integrated with improving the lot of underprivileged societies of India, what better option can one think of than involving the most vibrant human resource, i.e. the youth of country? 5. Application of ecology in sustainable development. 5.1. Eco-City, the need of today. Figure point 2. Eco-City, need of today. An eco-city is an ecologically healthy city where people can live healthier and economically productive lives while reducing their impact on the environment. They work to harmonize existing policies, economic markets and regional realities with their natural resources and environmental assets. Figure 2. Eco-cities highlight the following goals. Build and redesign cities for people, not cars. Using eco-city mapping, identify ecologically sensitive areas, define the carrying capacity of regional life support systems, and identify areas where nature, agriculture and the built environment should be restored. Use solar and other locally available renewable energy resources and design buildings to be heated and cooled as much as possible by nature. Design cities for energy conservation, renewable energy uses. Recycle, reuse, and compost at least 60% of all municipal solid waste. Solar-powered machines and wetlands should be used to treat sewage wastes. Recycle used water that is purified and can be used again and again. Promote urban gardens and farmers markets. The residents of eco-city are able to walk, bike, or use low-polluting mass transit for most of their travel. Trees and plants adapted to the local climate and soils are planted throughout the city to provide shade, beauty, wildlife habitats, and to reduce air pollution, noise, and soil erosion. Polluted creeks and rivers are cleaned up and restored. Nearby forests, grasslands, wetlands, and farms are preserved. Environmental leader Lester R. Brown says that the ratio of parks to parking lots may be the single best indicator of the livability of a city, an indication of whether the city is designed for people or for cars. Much in eco-cities food comes from nearby organic farms, solar greenhouses, community gardens, and small gardens on rooftops, yards and window boxes. In 2005, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) estimated that such urban food production now supplies food for about 1/5 of the world's 3.4 billion urban residents. Increased food transportation costs because of rising oil prices could cause a shift from globalized to more localized food production in urban areas. Finally, an eco-city provides plenty of educational opportunities for its residents to inform them of environmental problems and solutions. Ecological cities enable their residents to live quality life by using local materials and energy, air, water flow, sunlight, wind and rain to their best advantage. Making natural ecosystems into the developed area in which local flora and fauna can survive and established. Plantation of vegetation to maintain microclimates as well as temperature and humidity. Increasing the life of community and relation among people. Supporting innovative ideas of people to create new technology and use them to improve livability. There are various cities which are developing as eco-cities. Few of them are described as follow. 5.1.1. Curitiba, Brazil, the city close to nature. Figure point 3. Curitiba, the city close to nature. One of the world's most livable and sustainable major city is Curitiba, Brazil, with more than 2.5 million people. Figure 3. The ecological capital of Brazil has the best bus system which carries about 60% of Curitiba's more than 2.5 million people throughout the city. Cars are banned from 49 blocks of the city's downtown area, which features a network of pedestrian walkways connected to bus stations, parks and bike paths. Curitiba relies less on automobiles, it uses less energy per person and has less air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions and traffic congestion than most comparable cities. Trees have been planted throughout the city. 2 trees must be planted for each one harvested. The city recycles roughly 70% of its paper and 60% of its metal, glass and plastic, which is sorted by households for collection 3 times a week. Most of the industries are located in an industrial park outside the city limits. Old buses used for classrooms, health clinics, soup kitchens, etc. In Curitiba, virtually all households have electricity, drinking water and trash collection. About 95% of its citizens can read and write, and 83% of adults have at least a high school education. 5.1.2 China's vision for an eco-city. In 2008, China began constructing an eco-city called Dongtan. It is located near Shanghai, a city with 17 million people and 300,000 more people arriving each year. Dongtan City is built at the mouth of Yangtze River, near eastern tip of Chongming Island. The Shanghai government, which owns the site, aims to develop Dongtan in an environmentally responsible way, such that it will exist in harmony with its environment. The goal is to cut the city's ecological footprint to half that of comparable conventional cities. All of the city's energy is to come from renewable sources. Solar panels installed on the rooftops which provide electricity for light, heating and cooling of the room. The solar cell panels, biogas generation plant fueled by rice husk and vegetable peels, will also supply sufficient amount of energy required for the people in the city. One piping system will provide drinking water and another will supply treated wastewater to flush toilets and to irrigate crops. Vegetables, fruits, chickens, eggs, and fish will be produced in high-rise vertical farm buildings. The initial goal was to put no more than 10% of the city's trash in landfills and finally to make it the world's first zero solid waste city. In 2008, the oil-producing United Arab Emirates, with the world's largest per capita ecological footprint, started to build a green town in the desert by 2015 for up to 50,000 residents, with the goals of having zero carbon emissions and zero wastes. Other examples of cities that have attempted to become more environmentally sustainable and to become more livable include Waitakere City, New Zealand, Stockholm, Sweden, Helsinki, Finland, Netherlands, the Netherlands, etc. and many more. 5.2 Green technology. It can be defined as technology that has the potential to significantly improve environmental performance relative to other technology in terms of sustainability and productivity. It is related to term environmentally sound technology, which was adopted under the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development Agenda 21. Other commonly used terms for green technology includes climate smart, climate friendly and low carbon technology. In terms of pollution, green technology includes both process and product technologies that generate either low or no waste and also increases resource and energy efficiency. It also covers end-of-the-pipe technologies for treating the pollution. The use of green technologies involves various environmental technologies for monitoring and assessment, pollution control, remediation and restoration. Monitoring and assessment technologies can be used to track the environmental situation damaged by the release of harmful chemicals and gases from natural or anthropogenic activity. Prevention technologies avoid the production of environmentally hazardous substances or alter human activities in a way that minimize environmental damage. It includes product substitution or the redesign of an entire production process rather than using new pieces of equipment. Control technologies render hazardous substances before they enter the environment. Remediation and restoration technologies represent methods designed to improve the condition of ecosystems, degraded through naturally induced or anthropogenic effects. There are various sectors of green technology. Some of them are as follow. Agriculture, organic agriculture, energy, renewable energy technology, efficient technology, water and waste management, recycling technology, water purification, sewage treatment and solid waste management, building, sustainable building material, building performance technology, transportation, rail transport electric vehicle. 5.2.1 Biofuel, case study. Petroleum products are no longer well-suited source of energy due to their non-renewable nature and also their role in increasing global warming. Continuous rise in oil price adds more problems especially for the underdeveloping countries. In such case, biofuel could be the possible solution for this problem. Many countries have already started production and use of biofuel. Indonesia and Malaysia are growing palm oil while Brazil heavily grows sugarcane for using it as a biofuel. India has also started producing jatropha as biofuel. There are a number of benefits of using biofuel. Use of biofuel can help in reducing global warming. It can provide a new emerging market for farmers especially for underdeveloped countries who can accelerate their income source. As it is renewable in nature, there will be no energy crisis in the world. As it can be produced by both developed and underdeveloped countries, there will be no monopoly market for fuel in the world. 5.2.2 Biogas, case study. It is a combustible gaseous mixture primarily composed of methane and carbon dioxide. It is a product of anaerobic digestion of organic waste materials by methanogenic bacteria. When it is produced in controlled condition inside a biogas plant, it can use to meet energy requirement for cooking, electricity generation and lighting. The slurry or digested effluent produced from biogas plant has high fertilizer value. By the consolidated effort of public and private stakeholders, Nepal established biogas sector. Establishment and institutionalization of biogas industry in Nepal facilitates various inclusive schemes for renewable energy promotion to all groups of the society. Biogas support program from phase 1 to IV has been implemented in promotion of biogas in Nepal. 6. Summary. Human creativity and activity has brought a breathtaking pace of technological innovations and scientific breakthroughs which has created a pressure on natural resources. Overexploitation of natural resources has caused many environmental problems. Sustainable development leads to healthy and economically sound lives without causing any damage to the environment and without affecting the future welfare of people. Various programs on sustainable development are initiated at international level. In 1980, ICUN, WWF and UNEP developed a long-range plan for the World Conservation Strategy for conserving the world's biological resource. The Brundtland Commission proposed the agenda to deal with the world environment problems and concern of human population-related living condition, education, resources, population pressure and health. The Earth Summit proposed conventions on climate change and the conventions on biological diversity and approved the Rio Declaration and the Forest Principles. India, after 69 years of independence, is far from attaining the basic need of society such as security of food, water, shelter, health, educational, socio-cultural and political opportunities. The conservation of natural resources and sustainable use of natural resources has been already practicing in India, which is also expressed in Indian scriptures more than 3,000 years ago. The sustainable use of resources also reflected in our law and policy framework with different international environmental agencies. Ecological aspect can be applied for sustainable development. For instance, in the development of an eco-city, where people can live a healthier and economically productive life while reducing their impact on the environment. Green technology can be used to improve environmental performance in terms of sustainability and productivity.